Today we have a different type of 12-volt battery to review for you guys by Renogy. So Renogy doesn't make a ton of batteries, but they do have a few batteries, and when they do make a battery, normally it's completely different than anything we've seen on the market. They had their smart batteries in the past, but I've never reviewed a Renogy battery. This is my first time getting one. This is their new 12-volt solid-state lithium iron phosphate battery. So it's solid-state or semi-solid state. I kind of did a little bit of reading on it. And essentially it's still a lithium iron phosphate chemistry, except it has less liquid electrolyte in it. Normally a lithium iron phosphate cell has a lot of electrolyte, and some of them you can actually kind of move around and hear it swirling around inside the cell. But they say they got rid of a lot of the liquid, so it's a semi-solid state battery. And the advantages of that is the battery is physically smaller, it takes up less space, it's a little bit lighter, and it has a little bit better performance characteristics. And they sell this, kind of market it more toward people who have RVs, so it's made for more harsher conditions. So it's got a really robust metal case, it's got mounts on the side you can attach to mount it to something, it's all sealed up. So they really made it for really harsh environments, and the price also kind of reflects that. At the time I'm making this video from their website, this battery costs $647, so it is very high up there on a 12-volt battery price scale. So I'm really hoping that for that price, we're gonna see what we get. And this thing, I really expect this thing to be built as good as you can build a battery for that kind of price. Now some specs, it's 120 amp hours, 12 volt. It's weird, they're rating it at 12.8 volts instead of 13.2, but I assume the chemistry should be relatively close to voltages. I assume each cell is still a 3.2 volt cell. It has their latest smart BMS in it, so it has a Bluetooth BMS you can connect with your phone. It also has COM ports here on the side. You can actually parallel multiple of these batteries together and they can actually communicate. And you can also connect it to one of their smart interfaces to have communication on that as well. So there is some communication function built into the battery if that's something you're interested in. It can do 150 amps continuous, which is more than 1C, and it'll do up to 350 amps for 30 seconds. They're rated at 6,000 charge and discharge cycles. They also say the Bluetooth has a very long range, and it's also capable of doing over-the-air updates. So if they release updates for the BMS, you can update the battery, maybe give it better functionality. It's also self-heated, so it will heat itself, and they say it's a rapid self-heating function. So if this thing's in your battery hold in your RV, it'll be able to rapidly heat itself up in order to keep the cells at the correct temperature and maintain all that. And if it gets too cold and the heating can't keep up, it also has low temp cutoff, so it will completely shut the battery off to prevent any sort of damage from happening. I mean, it's a pretty nice looking battery. It's about the same size as a 100 amp hour battery. So it's not quite as tall, and this is just a standard size, not a mini size battery. Not quite as tall, it's just a little bit thicker, and the length is exactly the same. So you save a little bit on height, but it is a little thicker, but you get 120 amp hours versus a standard 100 amps. Also in the box, you get the user manual. You get short and long M8 bolts, so if you're stacking multiple terminals together, they give you the longer bolts for that, which is nice. And then in this little baggie, this is all the mounting hardware. So once you pick where you want to put the battery, you can bolt these feet to whatever surface you want. And then these feet will bolt to each corner, two here and two here, so it'll really secure this battery. That way this thing can't bounce around or sustain any damage from doing that. As far as the interface goes, you have your main positive, main negative. These are gonna be your COM ports. It looks like a vent. On the top here, just an information sticker with some more information. Tells you all the specs right here. It says 10-year lifespan. So they say it should last 10 years. Semi-solid state cells, under seat installation. On the sides as well here, and here you get a little bit of cutout so you can put your hands to pick this thing up. Here's a better look at where the brackets are gonna go. Here's the other side, here's a big thick metal plate. This is where we're gonna open this thing up after we're done capacity testing it. And here's what the bottom looks like, nice and flat. So we're gonna fully charge this thing, do a capacity test, see what we get out of it. Then we're gonna do high amp discharging tests. We're gonna discharge it at 150 amps continuous. We're gonna open this thing up and take a look at the cells, the BMS, the build quality, and kind of overall see if it's worth the high price tag. Renogy normally builds some really good stuff. All the stuff they do build, they make a lot of solar panels, they make solar charge controllers, inverters, and batteries, and a lot of their stuff seems pretty high quality, and they have been around for quite a long time, so I really have high hopes for this thing, mainly because it's so expensive. If you're gonna be competing in the 12-volt battery market with something premium for that much money, you gotta really come out swinging and have something that's really gonna be worth the money, because there's so many cheap batteries on the market that a lot of people are just gonna almost would rather take their chances on something cheaper versus spending this much money on something that, you know, may or may not be as good. But hopefully it's good. I'm not gonna judge it too harsh. We're gonna just get into testing and see how it does. All right, guys, I did have to switch to my Osmo Pro because I had to download the app on my iPhone. So there's the Renogy app connected to the battery. It gives us a lot of information that we're gonna wanna see. State of charge. It even has a maximum capacity, so it could probably keep track of the state of health of the battery. Right now we're charging it with a 10 amp charger, so we're putting 9.1 amps into the battery. We get individual cell voltages, but you only get a 0.1 volt resolution. But the app looks pretty good. The only thing I don't like about the app is you do have to create an account with Renogy in order to use the app, so that is a negative. I don't like having to do that. I would rather open the app, connect to the battery, and immediately start using the features of the app. Anyways, we're gonna get this thing fully charged so we can start the capacity test. All right, we're about to start capacity testing our Renogy solid state lithium iron phosphate battery. It's fully charged. We have our standard capacity test set up here. We're gonna do a 0.2C load on the battery. Now, before I do that, I do wanna kind of clear up some of the confusion that some of you guys may have, including myself. I was also a little bit confused by the solid state marketing that they're actually putting on this battery. So I have an official document from Renogy, and I'm gonna kind of explain what they're talking about. So essentially, they're saying solid state or semi-solid state is a battery that is composed of less than 10% electrolyte. The battery does still have some electrolyte compounds in the cells, but because there's such a small amount, they're considering it a semi-solid or solid state design. A true solid state battery would have 0% electrolyte in it. So there is some electrolyte still in the battery. So it's more of a semi-solid state battery. Now they claim improved resistance to puncture and compression, suppresses lithium dendrite growth. So maybe some of you guys who are more keen on battery chemistry can kind of know what that means. I'm reading directly off of what they gave me. So there's a little bit of a safety upgrade that you get with the solid state semi-solid state cells. It also has better low temperature characteristics. So a standard lithium iron phosphate cell with full electrolyte that is liquid cannot operate below freezing because the electrolyte will freeze. And if you try to charge it after that, it will actually damage the battery. However, they say this is good down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. That's for charging. And then you can discharge -4 degrees Fahrenheit up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Better longevity as well. They do rate the battery as having a 6,000 cycle count, which to be honest, even standard lithium iron phosphate cells starting to get up there cycle count. If you look at some of the newer cells that are offered on the market right now, a lot of those come with, it used to be 4,000 cycles was kind of the standard. Now we're looking at 6, 8, and some are even claiming 10,000. Obviously, we won't know that. Time will tell how good the cells in this battery actually hold up, but they are saying there is some life that you will get, sustained longer life cycling that you can get out of the cells. And that's really it. So there's not a huge amount of difference going to this semi-solid state design, but it is a step forward in the battery market. Now, we've all seen the headlines of fully solid state batteries. There's been a couple products that have been released on the market with supposed solid state batteries. Some of them have been debunked. Others have just seen a marginal increase in actual performance of the batteries. So I do think it's a technology that is coming, but just for now, we have semi-solid state batteries, so we're gonna see how it actually holds up in test in this battery. So I am kind of curious to see how it does. All right, we have our current shunt meter here. This is completely zeroed out and reset. It's gonna display the total amp hours we get out of the battery right there. We're gonna do a 0.2C load, so that's 24 amps. So I'm gonna go ahead and get our battery charger set up to draw a load from our SunGold Power 3000 watt low frequency pure sine wave inverter. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the inverter on. Looks like the closest I'm gonna be able to get with my battery charger is 21.3 amps. It's gonna kind of fluctuate a little bit. We're gonna run the test at that, and we're gonna see what our final capacity number is. This test will take about 5 hours to complete, so I'll see y'all then. All right, we just finished the capacity test and we ended up with 123.5 amp hours. All right, now we're gonna start doing some high current discharge testing to see when the BMS will actually cut off. The battery is rated at 150 amps continuous, but what's weird is it only says that in the manual right here. So max continuous discharge current is 150 amps with a peak of 350. And also on Renogy's website, it says the same thing about this battery, but on the battery itself, on the label right here, it says the maximum continuous discharge current is 120 amps. So a little bit weird. There might be a typo on the battery itself, but we're going to test it at 150 amps continuous, let it run that load for a little while. Then we're going to walk the load up above 150 amps and see how many amps it takes for the battery to actually shut down. So we have our load set up. We have a space heater, our 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and I'm also going to plug a battery charger in as well to give us plenty of load options in order to really stress the battery out. And you guys will be able to see the total current right here on our shunt meter. There we are at 112 amps. Now I'm gonna go ahead and kick the space heater on low. So now we're kind of settling in about 179 amps, 180 amps, 186 amps. The voltage is holding really steady, still staying above 12, so that's good. Okay, there we go. It just shut off. We were at about 189 amps. Now I'm gonna reset everything and I'm gonna turn the current down to get it closer to 150 since we know we can trip it, but at least it proves that it works. So I am happy about that. As you guys know, we test a ton of batteries on the channel, and a lot of the batteries we test, especially the 12 volt ones, the high current protection does never seem to work, but this is a very high-end battery, so I would expect the safety features to work as they're advertised. All right, the BMS has just kicked back on. We're gonna restart the load, but just a little bit lower this time. I really wanna hit that 150 amps continuous and just let it hover around there for a little while. All right, we're at 151 amps, so this is the rated continuous output. We're very close to it. All right, we've been running the load, no problem. So it's definitely comfortable around 150 amps. Now I'm gonna bump it up to close to 160 and we're gonna see where the threshold is where the BMS will cut out. Now there is a delay between hitting high current protection and it actually triggering it,
which is a good thing because it gives you time to unload some things if you are overloading the battery. All right, there we go. We reached 160 amps, so we're gonna let it run this load for a little while and just see what happens. That's 1992 watts of output. All right, well, it's not showing any signs of cutting off, so I'm gonna go ahead and raise the current another, because I am interested in finding the set point in which it does trigger it. So at 165 amps, still hasn't triggered. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit more. I think we're gonna get it on the next one because we're already getting close to the 180 amps that we were at. Oh, actually there it went. I spoke too soon. All right, so they rated at 150 amps. I got it to about 165 before it actually tripped, so that's pretty close to the rating, and I am happy to say that the high current discharge protection does work. As you guys can see, looking at the battery is pretty much stone cold. The leads are quite warm. The inverter is a little bit of heat. The heater is a little bit of heat, but the battery itself is 80 degrees, 86 degrees, so not bad. Next, we're gonna take this thing apart. Due to the price of this battery, I really am kind of expecting a lot, so hopefully this thing delivers. Honestly, this should be one of the best 12-volt batteries we've ever taken apart on the channel. There's like some sort of sealant on the screws. Oh, I think it's glued down. Flathead to pop the cover off. It stinks. Ugh. Very interesting. So they actually put a bead of sealant all the way around the cover. I've never seen one that has screws and then some sort of adhesive, but this one does, so that should keep the battery nice and sealed up. Very first thing we notice, very big and sophisticated looking BMS. We have 1, 2, 3 wires connecting the BMS to the battery itself. These are 7-gauge wires, very thick, nicely crimped connections there, heat shrinked, bolted to the BMS, large heatsink on the BMS, and there's a lot going on really on this thing. It's quite large. It appears to be custom made just for this battery. All the connections, it looks like they put some extra glue to help secure everything. This looks like maybe for a heater, I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like there's gonna be an easy way to disassemble this thing. I'm gonna try to stick something in here to see if I can see the cells, but you can kind of see one of the vents right there, but they go straight up and down like that. Try to get you guys in here for a better look. You guys can see the temp sensors mounted to the terminals right there. We have nice laser welded terminals. Sorry if that'll focus. Here's a good look at the laser weld. It all looks really nice. I mean, overall, it does look like a really nice battery. There's some information on the BMS. There's a model number on the BMS, as well as the manufacturing date, it looks like. And this thing has a lot of circuits going on, so there definitely is a lot of tech built into this thing. Or at least I assume so. Cells say LiFePo4. I'm gonna try to get a better look at the QR code and try to decode what cells they're actually using in this thing. Without taking the entire BMS out of the battery, making all these connections loose, pulling this off, I'm not gonna be able to get the whole pack out of the case. But what I did do is I took a really good picture of the cells. So there's what the QR code looks like if you wanna pause and take a better look at that. Maybe some of y'all can let me know in the comments what kind of cells these are exactly. I did try to decode them, and that's what I got. Nothing really useful. But if they are the supposed low electrolyte cells, maybe they are gonna be kind of a weird number. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. There's really not much more I can tear apart, unfortunately. I will say the battery does appear very well built. It doesn't look like there's really any place they could cut corners, and I don't see very much you could do to make this any better. The wire management looks really decent. All the connections look really decent. And I'd say overall the battery's built quite nicely. Well, that's gonna wrap up our testing of this battery. Off the rip, this thing's very expensive. I will say this is probably one of the most expensive 12-volt batteries for this capacity on the market right now. It did pass all the testing. The build quality looks amazing. All the components look and appear to be really nice. It has a ton of features and a futuristic sounding cell type and composition of the electrolyte. Will that translate into real world noticeable results if you use this battery as intended? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of hard to say. I will say at least if you do buy one of these batteries and you do spend a premium, it does appear that you get a premium product. That's my biggest concern. I try to look at value versus cost. You know, if you're gonna spend a lot of money, the battery needs to be perfect. It needs to have amazing performance, amazing qualities, a good warranty. It has to check every block, especially the more expensive it is. A cheaper battery, you can kind of let a couple things slide, but not with a battery this expensive. Another thing I can't really answer in this specific type of testing I did is the lifespan you'll get out of this thing. They say 10-year life cycle. I think you could probably get more. It also depends on the environment you operate the battery in. I don't really have much more to say though. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, please. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this battery. Let me know about the testing we did, the quality, the build quality, the cell type. I think that's the biggest thing about this battery is the different type of cells they claim to be using. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. If you're more of an expert on these type of cells, let me know in the comments what you think about that. But that's it, guys. I'll see y'all in the next video.